Hello. I just wanted to show off to you guys today, anyone who's interested in redpower, a device that I had worked on a while ago on Skate9Q's server. I made an addition to it just recently. It was on his server. I'll go into why we had it and what it does in a minute. So pretty much what we had was we had a main base right here, let's say, make a little main base. This was his house, it was the main factory. And then over here, down in the ground, was my little house. And I had a bunch of cobble generators and a big factory, a lot of quarries, but it made a lot of lag. So it was a ways away from, the main house, and then we piped everything back. But the problem was, if something went wrong or we wanted to shut something off or control it from the main house, we had to run down this entire long tunnel and go shut it off manually. So we wanted to make a remote to shut it off, something to shut it off from the main house. And there were 2 cobblestone generators, 1 recycler array, later 2 recycler arrays, and a diamond manufacturing thing. All of them had on-off switches, and there was a power cutoff. It was, there was a good deal of things. So it started off as 4 switches, and instead of doing this and running all these wires down to my base from his, and it would work, but it would be kind of crap. It's just looks bad, takes up a lot of space, it's not very efficient, and so what we did was we were trying to come up with a way to make it all do it on one line, with like a bundled cable or something like that. I don't know, you probably wouldn't be watching this if you haven't played redpower before, but a bundled cable, there's different colors, so each color could all fit into one cable, and the one cable would run down. Except we realized that bundled cables were really quite expensive at the time, at least to our factory. We didn't have the resources to make bundled cables, so that wasn't an option. We had to make it send on one line, and to do that we came up with, well, he helped some, I came up with it, mostly it was sort of my project for, my end of the factory. And it was, actually I think I was trying to do something stupid and he pointed me in the right direction. Anyways, whatever. We wanted to send it all on one line because we could afford that. We had enough iron and things to send all of the redstone on one line from the main factory to my little house. So if we go down here, this is what the control panel looked like. Well, it was underground. It looked a little cleaner and it came up into one little control panel. But there was 4 different switches and a send button. And just to give a little peek of the wiring behind it, it's a little bit more advanced on this end just because I added a resend or refresh button. A little bit of wire down here. And it went all along this one jacketed cable up until this is a new addition, but it went over to here and through some more things which I'll explain over to these Y-shaped pillars. To the 4 different lights, and obviously, the lights are the same as power. Yeah, set it to dawn. So that was how we controlled it, and what it does is it sends sort of an analog signal along this one line. When I hit send, you'll see it resets all the lights and then goes through and turns them on according to these levers. Send again, resets the lights, and then just those 2 turn on. Right? If I turn this one on... Oop, 1 second. Great, so they'll probably be calling back as an unavailable number and no one picked up. Awesome. Anyways, so along this line, it would, if I have those 3 levers on, I press this, all of them reset, and then those 3 turn on. Awesome, right? So to go over it, we sort of need to know the concept. What happens is, when I press send, it sends one pulse down the line and waits a little bit. And then it comes through, and if the lever's on, it sends another pulse. And it comes over here, and if this lever's on, it sends another pulse. If this lever's on, it sends another pulse. And so it's kind of like, I'll do a little drawing maybe or something for it, because it's easier to explain with a drawing. Open this up, and it goes through a series of highs and lows. The first high is a start, pretty much. It assumes if it's not transmitting, which is this blue light, not receiving, then that's a start signal to start receiving. Alright, here we go. So the signal kind of goes like this. Right, here's the start and here's the end. Goes high, and this is our start. And then nothing, right? So this will be off, nothing, blah, 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 because the first lever's off, the second lever's off, third lever's on, fourth lever's off. So that's the idea. And let's say the first lever was on, it'd go on, off, off, off. So this is just the start, and then this one is the start, and then these are the four levers right here. Anyways. So in order to receive it, what happens is, we'll assume that I'll show the resend button in a minute. This is pretty much where the signal comes in. It goes to this AND, which is on a toggle switch, right? And the toggle switch is right now in the off position. And so if it comes in, it will toggle this switch to on, which powers this block, which powers this, and then this no longer has power. This AND no longer has power, so the pulses will not flip the toggle on and off again. When it does toggle, it hits this pulse former, which sends a timed pulse down this. It rains every single day in Minecraft. It's ridiculous. It sends a pulse down this line. First, we'll check out the blue line, which comes up, and just a 1 delay. Nothing too fancy there, and that resets these RS latches. All of them then rest in the off position. It gives a little timer so that it has time to reset all of them, and it comes through, hits a pulse, which checks this AND. And I'll show you the top side. And then it goes to that one, rests a second, pulses, checks this AND, which is pull 2. Rests a second, pulses, checks pull 3, the same thing, checks pull 4. This AND right here, right, this is the raw line. Yellow is the raw line, blue is the reset, yellow is raw. That's just straight from the sender. Comes over onto this block, the left side of all of the poles. So if the yellow line pulses in time with the pulse that has been sent on the green line, right? That's the timer, the green line. From the initial pulse, it rests, and then it starts making the pulse chain, pulse, 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 all the way down. So if it matches up, if the yellow and green match up, then it turns it on. If the yellow and green do not match up, it won't. So let's say we get our start signal. The yellow pulses, but there's nothing on the green yet. And then as the first lever, right, it goes through the rest, goes through this rest, and then the first lever pulses from the receiver. The receiver or the sender sends a pulse for the first lever on the yellow line, and it matches up time with the green line. That will turn on this latch, and it will turn on the light. Then it goes through the rest of them. Pretty simple. Not really simple, I guess, but they are all the same after that. You can stack them on as many as you want, as many poles. So here's the sender. There's another latch for the resend button, but we don't need to worry about that. It comes from a button, presses the pulse, 0 delay, straight onto this cobble right here, which hits this line, which hits the stone jacketed cable down. So that's our start. This initial pulse right here, that's the start. Then it comes through to this delay right there, and the delay, right, we've got the switch. It's inverted so that it looks like a normal light switch instead of Minecraft where down is up. And it goes through the first delay, which is down here, comes up this stone pillar right beside the first pole, the first sending pole, and it hits this AND. So if there's power beneath it, or if there's power above it, right, from the light switch, and there's power on the side from the timer. Then it will go down to this cobble line on the bottom and over to the receiver, and it will just repeat that process for all of these poles. So let's say, right, this one is off right here, and this one is on. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3 off, 4 on. And if I turn just the last one on and press send, it goes fast, so it's kind of hard to see. Boop. You can kind of see it blink down through the line. And then it comes through and does the switching of the latches again. So now there's the addition. That was what was on his server. I just did an addition today, this resend button. Because what if you're down at this end, right? You're a long ways away from the console, the panel, and you had to hit an emergency off, and you had like your cobblestones going everywhere. You hit an emergency off. Now you're out of sync with the console panel. So after you're done fixing the emergency, you hit the resend button. It sends a pulse back, and the pulse comes through and resets the switches. The thing is, we still wanted to only use the one line, but we wanted to have a resend button. So how that happens is, it comes from the button, hits a pulse real quick. The pulse goes through onto this, the raw comes in through an and there's a delay here just so that they synchronize, the two synchronize. So the pulse comes into the delay, goes up onto the main line. There's also the pulse on this AND. So what happens is, when I press the resend button, it will not allow a signal, the pulse signal, the resend signal, to come back through and turn on the receiver and go through a receiver cycle. Because obviously the resend signal does not take as long as a receiver cycle, and if we did a receiver cycle, then that's using a lot of power, and it's unnecessary. You don't need to go through the whole receive process just if you want to resend, and it would throw everything out of sync. So this AND just makes sure that the pulse sending back does not, get interfered with. So then it comes down this line, and we can just trace it back. Goes down here onto this bottom thing, and powers this block. This is the important one, because this is just repeater and ANDs, so the signal can't go back through them. But right here is an AND gate on the end of the line. And this AND gate, right, it's off right now. The resend signal has not been sent. But we have this latch, and this latch flips. Here's our start, our send from our send button. So while the sender is in the process of sending, this latch flips over. And you'll see that if I press send, the latch is flipped, it goes through the send cycle, and then flips back. So what it does is it makes it so you cannot send you cannot resend a start sequence if you are already transmitting, if you're already sending down the line. And that also keeps from the sent signal, since we're sharing the line, it'll keep the signal that it's being sent, it'll keep the sender from considering the transmission as another start sequence. So you'll see that light flash there, but it doesn't matter because it's toggled off, and I'll flip another switch so you'll see it flash a few times. Now if this toggle wasn't here, it would try to restart the signal over and over. But if it does get a resend signal, then it will come up here, go through a little bit of a delay just to let the line settle, and then come back through and pretty much just simulate a button press, and then go through the pulse former again. So I can actually put a button anywhere along the line and have it resend the signal. Bring it out here, and you'd need a pulse former. That's the only, well, I say that. I don't, now that I'm thinking about it, that wouldn't work, because it would send it down this way as well. You'd need to put a check-in to make sure that your send signal will not go down and start the receiver. So you just need another little thing like this little setup, the NOT and the AND thing right there. But you could add any of those along this line, and it shouldn't be an issue. You just have to make sure that when your button press, that is telling the sender, the control panel, to start a new transmission, it does not send back to the receiver and start the receive signal too early. And just to demonstrate why this is so useful, I mean, right now it looks silly. Why would you need all of that just to send this? This would be so much simpler, but this looks ugly. And let's say we wanted to go a really long distance with all 4 of these. You'd have to extend it all the way down here, and you'd have to run those 4 cables and keep them separated, and it would just take a lot of space. So the benefit to this system is that, let's say you wanted to go really far with this, and you had a really long tunnel, and your cobblestone factories were a ways away from your control panel, and I'm just making this line a bit longer while I talk, and you didn't want to have to run down the tunnel every time to shut off the control panel or kill an emergency power or something like that. So you just have this really long line, and you wanted to send more than one switch on. Well, alright, let's turn them all on. We're running full bore. Turn on all the cobble. Boom. All of it's on. Turn off the recycler array and cobblestone generator 2, I don't know, just whatever, and hit send again. Now your factory, you follow the line all the way down, your factory is running, blah blah blah. Oh no, the cobblestone's running into a pile of lava and the recyclers are exploding, so we'll hit the emergency offs. Alright, saved the disaster. Fixed it all, blah 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 blah, that's all fixed. And we want to resend and synchronize with this control panel again. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty efficient, and really actually useful for an instance like that. If you want to keep stuff looking neat, only send it on one line and have it also look pretty badass when people log on, like, what is this big thing? And also, benefit to it, let's say you are 256 blocks out. You're way down there. And you wanted to run 3 more levers on your system. You'd have to run 3 more redstone all the way down there, and that would be terrible. You'd run out of space. You'd have to dig your tunnel wider. It's just so messy. With this, all you would have to do is extend your control panel out 3 more sections, 3 more 2x3x4, I think, sections. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would come out to here. And you'd add 3 more poles onto your receiver, which are a bit bigger. They're 3x4x4, I think. I'm just making those up. Maybe 4x4x4. And you'd have to add 3 more of them on, but now you can send the signals all the way down. So I hope this is useful to someone, somewhere, hopefully. If not, it's still pretty cool just to see it work. Just another usage of the redpower mod. Alright, thanks for watching.